Hello and welcome to today's podcast. Today, guys, we are talking about something super juicy. I've got some questions from my fans and I'm going to run through and answer my honest opinion. Today's topic, get ready for it, drumroll please, is do men prefer when a woman takes the lead sexually? Okay, I told you it was a hot one. And well, I've got a lot to say about this. So, for those of you that know me, I have a lot of experience in this from my personal life. I very much like to play the dominant role. Not only that, I've successfully built an OnlyFans, and the majority, not all of them, but the majority of my fans, people that subscribe to my page, they come to me because they are into having a dominant woman or experiencing having a dominant woman in charge. And so I'm going to go into all of the little juicy topics a little bit deeper today, breaking it down and answering all of the questions. Guys, let's get into it. Okay, next question. Do most men want to be dominant or submissive? All right, let me break it down for you. Broadly speaking, there are two types of men. Okay, so we have the guy that wants to take control and the guy that wants to give up control. Yes, there are way more than that, and I'm just categorizing, but okay, so starting with the guy that wants to take control. He's the more dominant type, likes to lead the experience, likes to have everything his way, and maybe that will be because he wants to get his fix and wants to get his fix fast, or he might be a nice dominant and he wants to, make sure the lady gets their fix and gets their fix fast. And there's nothing wrong with that. I absolutely am all for that. It's super, super hot. Don't get me wrong. Hands up, I am definitely a big switch, more dominant, but yes, I'm a switch. And I like it when a man just takes control. From time to time, there is a time and a place. And so that's your first type of guy. The second guy, the submissive type, is somebody that finds a woman that can take control incredibly attractive. He finds it sexy. He's ready to give up control. He's ready to have somebody take the lead. And, this can exist in many different levels. Just because someone's submissive, it doesn't mean like they're totally submissive. They're going to roll over and do whatever you say. There's levels, there might be somebody who's just like a little bit submissive and likes a little bit of a tease versus somebody that's like, goddess, I cherish the ground that you walk on and I am going to do everything you say. And that's that. Okay. So I think, do most men want to be dominant or submissive? I think there are two, mainly speaking, types of men: the give up control and the take control. So no, not all men do, but I believe that deep down there, even the most dominant of guys at some point, has to want to experience just letting go, and not always being in control. I know for me personally, I like to be the dominant one. But some days or sometimes if it's mentally exhausting to always be in that role. And so sometimes, I just want to and be done. So yeah. Okay. Next up. Oh, juicy. Why do some men never explore their submissive side? Okay. I think that it's safe to say, in my opinion, I believe that many, many, many men will never explore their submissive side. They don't. They're too afraid to do it. They aren't able to be open enough to even come around to that idea. But then there are men that, you know, maybe fantasize about it for a long time and just, you know, never allow themselves to go there. And why does, you know, do people keep this inside? And I think it's a lot to do with like social norms, cultural, society, families, religion is a big one. And yeah, I mean, if you're a guy and you've grew up in a house where dad is like, a man must be a man, and you know, if a man enjoys having something up there, then you know he's definitely a homo. But no, absolutely not. I mean, there are lots and lots of lots of activities that a straight man can engage in without being, you know, without being kind of like labeled as homo or whatever, you know. I think okay, so there are a lot of guys that I know that are very, very, very straight, that enjoy certain activities in certain erogenous pleasure point zones, that they are straight through and through, but it's a pleasure point in the body, and they're open enough to experience it. So, I think so many people are kind of like shut off from being submissive or partaking in submissive sexual activities because, you know, society has told them if you do that, you're this, and if you know, if you act that way, you're not manly. But it's absolutely so far from the truth. And I think actually it does take more of a self-aware, strong individual to kind of like allow them barriers to drop down and to say, you know what, I am very confident in my masculinity, or not, you know. They might not want to be like seen as masculine, but I can say I'm very confident in myself. I'm very aware of what I enjoy, and I'm very aware of what gets me going. And I'm going to make the absolute most of that. Like, I want to enjoy everything that is to be had within the pleasure zone of a relationship, and just soak it all up. And that's fucking fantastic because, yeah, I mean, your pleasure zone, I mean, I don't want to label, but if you have like a very vanilla sex life, and, you know, kind of like this is your pleasure zone, it's like this big, and you know, you do the same stuff, and you maybe like have sex and just normal sex, but, you know, you don't really do very many other things. But then on the flip side, meanwhile, you might have, you know, the person over here who is open and doesn't care about what other people think, and they're like, their pleasure zone is like this, and they've got this whole realm of activities that they can explore, not just sex, but like mental connection, you know, power dynamics. There's just so much that can be enjoyed within, you know, the realm of sex and sexual pleasures and domination and submission. And it's huge. It's mind blowing, and it's freaking amazing. So I think the the men and the women that are able to drop down their barriers and, you know, not care what people think, those are the men and the women that are out there having the most fun. IMO. Okay. Next question. Why is a woman in control so sexy? I think it is. I think a woman in control is so incredibly sexy. I think, man or woman, confidence is a huge turn on. It is. It's undeniable. Confidence is a turn on. And I think, okay, imagine now you're a guy and you are you're sat there, and imagine, okay, I'm just going to use the example of me, right? You're a guy and you're sat there, and I walk into the room, and immediately I see you. I lock eyes with you, deadlock eyes. I walk over to you. You already can feel my energy. You can already feel my assertiveness. Like, I walk over to you with a strong, powerful ambience about me. I come over to you, still staring, and put my hand up around your neck, firmly, not too hard, but not too soft, pinning you back with a little push and a force, and then straddling you, holding your hands down, getting all up in your space and just taking what's mine. You know, there's something about that sureness and that confidence that just is incredible, and it's undeniable, and it makes for a really, really, really nice experience. So I think that's one of the reasons why a woman in control is super sexy. For the woman, it's not just about, it's not just about asking, it's about taking. I think there are also a few other reasons why it's super sexy for the man to have a woman in control. And I think probably the biggest one is if you have a woman that comes up to you, like I just said, walks up to you, pins you down, straddles you, and is about to take what she wants, looking at you like almost like you're a piece of meat. It's like, as the man or the recipient of that energy, you feel desired. It doesn't matter on what level you feel desired, but that person that's coming at you, they want you, and you feel desired. And feeling desired, it feels good. It doesn't matter on what level. Like, if somebody shows you that they desire you, it feeds your ego and it feels good. And for men, especially, women as well, being desired is a good feeling all around. And so I think that's a good one. Another reason why men like women in control is that they may just want to relax and just take all the planning out of it. Like, if the woman's in control, if she's taking the lead, the guy doesn't have to plan. He doesn't have to, in some cases, depending on what you're doing, doesn't need to perform, can just relax, enjoy his time, let the lady do what she needs to do, follow instructions. And it's an unwind, it's an escapism, depending on the type and the level of submissiveness. Like, if it's a more dominant guy during the day when he's at work and he's giving everyone orders and la-di-da-di-da, like, he doesn't want to come home. Well, maybe he does, but I don't think always wants to come home and also then be leading everything. Like, sometimes everyone just needs to unwind. For me, myself, as I said earlier, I like doing the dominant role, but sometimes I don't feel like it, and sometimes I just want to have the flip reverse. And so I think it's completely true for guys too. And then the another reason why guys like a woman being in charge, is because it takes the guesswork out of pleasing the woman. So a woman is a very, very, very complex sexual being, With a man, I think it's a little bit more straightforward. Like, with a guy, some might be a little bit more difficult than others, but with a guy, in order to reach sexual climax, there are only a few ways you can skin a cat, right? There's only a handful of ways you can skin a cat, as in achieving the goal of the sexual climax. There's probably 5 different methods. And, for the girl, like if something's not working, she'll try a little variation of and maybe mix it together. Within no time at all, you're going to have got to the solution, okay? Women, it's not the same. Women are way more complex, and there's way more different ways, and it comes in all different shapes and sizes. And there's a lot of guesswork in it. So let me give you an example. So I like both men and women, and so I was with my girlfriend before. We were playing, and we had a wand toy. And so I enjoy my wand, and I like my wand in a certain, I like the head at a certain angle, from a certain direction, a certain pressure. Like I like the pressure hard, okay? And I like the thick part of the head. So I was with my girlfriend, and we were playing, and I was playing with her with the wand. And this was early on in our relationship, and I was applying the wand in the same way that I like it, thinking, assuming, well, I love it like this, so she is gonna love it like this as well. And so we were doing the thing for a while, and obviously she was enjoying it, we were having fun, but I wasn't achieving the climax. So kind of like look at her, and she's quite dominant, and is not afraid to say what she wants. So she grabs my hand, and she completely changes the angle and the direction and the pressure, and she's like, I like it like this. I'm like, wow, I don't like it like that. For me, that's just, it's not going to do it. But for her, sure enough, a couple of minutes later, and the job was done. And so, even as a woman, being a woman, you would think you would know what a woman wants, right? But not necessarily. Like, it's so different, and it varies so much from person to person. So men, you think you've got it covered. You think just because you've, made however many women like climax, don't think you got the formula for all of us, because we're different. We are very different, and it's not a one size fits all. But coming back to the point, for when a woman is in charge, it takes away that pressure of the guesswork for the guy, because the woman in charge, when I'm in charge, I'm gonna get my pleasure. Don't be fooled about that. If I'm in the leading role, no questions asked, I'm going to get my fix. I'm going to take it from you, and I'm going to get my fix, and I know how I like it, and you don't have to worry about it. I'm just going to use you and get what I want. So I think that's another reason why men find it sexy. It is sexy. Okay, right, what else have we got? Okay, next question. What about the fantasy of forced control? Consensual control, of course. Okay, I know for a fact that many guys love the idea of a woman taking what she wants and just, using the guy as an object and taking what she wants. Let's roll it back a little bit to like men and women's innate desires and what research has showed us. So there have been lots of polls done on the general population, trying to discover, what are men and women's top fantasies and desires. And a lot of the research on women, it shows you that one of the top fantasies for a woman is to be totally dominated by her partner or a stranger or a group of strangers, be tied down, and just have them have their way with her. So it definitely is like one of the biggest fantasies for women. Any women that are watching this, I'm sure you can relate. It's a fucking hot fantasy, definitely one that I have had myself. For men, it's very similar. Their number one fantasy actually is threesomes and multiple partners and that kind of thing, which I get it. Again, super hot for women. But yeah, close runner up for the guy is to be dominated or do the domination, but it's some level of domination and submission. So it definitely is something that the general population, when they've been quizzed and had like data recorded, it's something that's high up there. But then I think what the whole thing with like the forced consensual fantasy is, it makes it even more appealing to men, because men have these whole like social norms where they're not supposed to want this thing, but they kind of do want this thing, and then they're like, there's a whole little thing going on in the brains. I don't know what the sexual part of the brain is called, but like there's this whole wildfire going on in there, and it's like, oh, I want this, but I shouldn't have this. And then so the perfect scenario to get around that is to be in a predicament with a strong woman who knows what she wants and is experienced. And you're fucking around, and out of nowhere she comes down on you and she starts doing things you've never done before, and you try and wriggle out of it, and she shows a bit of power, and you're wriggling a bit more, but you're not wriggling that much, and she kind of takes control and says, listen, I'm not asking you, I'm here, and I'm going to take it, and you're going to do it, and you're going to enjoy it. And the guy is like, oh no, almost like damsel in distress, don't do that to me, I can't do that, you can't go there, oh no, don't put that there, and but obviously they submit and they do it and they enjoy it. And so I think that the forced consensual fantasy is huge, and it's hot. Like there's so many different like role plays and dynamics that you can do. Imagine as a couple, and you're both into that, like you can have so much fun for days. You never want to leave the house, and if you want to leave the house, it's to go somewhere else, to do it somewhere else. It's fantastic. I think it's a really, really fun fantasy to have. And I spend most of my days chatting with my fans and coming up with different role plays and fantasies and ideas, and it's definitely a big one. And I think it's a great fantasy for somebody who's just starting to explore their kinks of submissions, to kind of like really get into it. It's good. I like it. Okay. Oh, what have we got next? Can you be dominant without ever experiencing submission? Okay. I like this one. Can you be dominant without ever experiencing submission? So, right, as I said, hands up before, I am a switch. But I am way more dominant now in my early 30s than I was back in my early 20s. So back in my early 20s, when I first started exploring my sexuality, and well, it was earlier than that, but when I really got into it, I went down the kind of like submission rabbit hole, and I sought out guys that were very dominant and even like pro in that area, and had some fantastic experiences. Had experiences where I really knew what it was like to be completely submissive, and did lots of different types of things, and it was hella fun. I had a great time, and in that learned how it felt to be truly submitted to somebody, and to truly put my trust in somebody, and to understand from the receiving point of view, that you really, to kind of really enjoy it properly, that you have to trust this person, because when somebody is when you are being the person that's dominating and doing the dominating, you are essentially responsible for the person on the receiving end of it, mentally, physically. If you're dominating somebody and you're incorporating like whips and chains and restraints and blah 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 blah, like there are so many health and safety things that you need to be aware of, something that should not be practiced by somebody who's inexperienced. And so I think coming back to the question, like, can you be dominant without ever experiencing submission? So before I was this dominant, I was more submissive. And through being submissive, I had experiences where I could experience how a true dom should really treat their submissive subject, and how important it is that they do that with respect, with care, with safety, and all those things. And so I actually think the best doms were once submissives, or have had experiences where they were in a submissive scenario. Because now when I do the domination part, I'm very in tune with my subject or my partner. Like, I can read body language. I know what signs to look for, and I know how to give the best experience. Like, I can gauge, what's too much, what they're comfortable with, because they're not telling you this. It ruins the experience when you start having a conversation in the middle of it, right? So you need to be in tune with like body language, just eye contact, all of that, even breathing patterns. Like, you need to be able to read, is it too much? Is it not enough? Can I increase the intensity? Do I need to change something? And I think if you've been in the flip reverse, then you're way more equipped to give like a way better experience. So I think, yeah, can you be dominant with ever experiencing submission? Yes, you can, because some people are just dominant and they were never submissive. But I don't know, it'd be interesting. I have quite a few like dom girl friends, and obviously I do speak to them all, but I think actually after this I might go and ask them, like on a personal level, outside of like your role that you play, were you ever into the submission side of things more, or in your personal life. But yeah, I believe you can be dominant without being submissive, but I believe you will be a better dominant if you have been submissive. Make sense? Makes sense. Yeah. Okay. Next question. Why does it take a real woman to play this role? Okay, it kind of like lends from the last question. So I would say with age, experience, I have evolved from being more submissive to way more dominant. But I don't think it's just like something you can jump into. Okay, so you're not just going to start, from a very young age, just completely dominating guys and being like so confident and so self-assured, and you don't know how all that stuff works. Like, you need to know that you know how to please someone. You need to know that somebody's pleasure points. Like, you need to know you're fucking good. You need to know that you can achieve the results. You need to know how stuff feels. And so I think like it's not something you can do from a very young age. You cannot be like an amazing man pleaser on all these different levels before you've experienced all these different things. And so, I think it's definitely something that you need to evolve into, and it comes with time, and it comes with age, and it comes with experience. And it does separate the women from the girls, I think. I mean, there is so many guys that buy into, there are a lot of girls right now that are, working within the industry, that are doing incredibly well, but they are just young girls, and they're playing the cutesy, and they're playing the innocent, and they're even playing the virgin card, some of them, and it absolutely, works, and guys buy into it. Guys love the idea of, I guess, just rallying this virgin and taking it from her and, be done with it. But I think, yeah, and that's fun, and I can see where the appeal comes from. But like, realistically, more in a real life scenario, Is that what men really want? Do they really just want, cute and innocent? Can you really connect with that multiple times if it's like somebody that you're looking for in a partner, or, a little bit more long term? I think, the deeper connection, the different dynamics, the different enterprises with activities and stuff that you do, I think is the kind of like core of what makes a relationship strong and exciting. And I think it does take a real woman, not a girl, to be able to deliver the depths that are associated and come along with the domination side of things. So it's an interesting subject. It's an interesting subject because clearly lots and lots of men are into this cutesy innocent stuff, and I get it. But I don't know. I think at the end of the day, guys want to get off, and if you want to get off properly, if you want to have like, as a guy, if you want to have like the best time, the best experiences with things you've never experienced before, or your senses really heightened, I don't know, are you going to go to somebody that's like barely even, maybe not even done it, well, probably has, but done it a handful of times and is just going to kind of, want you to do everything? Or are you going to want somebody that's just going to know already what's going to feel good and be able to guide you and just get lost in this whole pleasure zone? I know what I prefer. And it's the latter for sure. So, final thoughts and conclusion for the day. So, do men prefer women that can take the lead sexually? I think many men do, and more men than admit. So yes, I think they do, but I think not as many men will admit to it. I think if you're a man and you have these feelings, then stop holding back. Go and explore, enjoy. If you're with a partner already, talk to her, let her know, hey, you know what, I had this idea and I would like to try it with you. I don't want you to judge me. I want to explore. Like, she's gonna love it. And for the women out there, if you've never stepped into the role of being a dominant woman, I promise you, just try it. It's so empowering and it feels so good. Just having that, make yourself feel good. Do your hair, do your makeup, buy yourself a new outfit, take control of your man and just show him a real good time and feel how much confidence that gives you inside, and keep it up, I think the best, most solid relationships are the relationships where you can be completely open and explore all that there is to be explored, because there's so much. Okay guys, that's it for today's episode. I told you it was going to be juicy. It was super fun. If you have any thoughts, comments, questions, please feel free to drop them below. I will be looking out for future topics to discuss, so tell me what you want to know. That's it for today's episode. If you want to explore more the power dynamics and everything we've been talking about, guys, you know where to find me. Come and chat with me on my OnlyFans, and we can go all night. I'm a great sexter, so get ready. I'll see you there. If you enjoyed the podcast, you enjoyed the video, make sure you like, subscribe, and stay tuned for the next one, guys. Keep it sexy. I will see you again soon.